tuning you in for the last time today. It's right now almost 7 o'clock, and I've built a few more trees, as I wanted you to see, which means I've been efficient in my driving, and there's a third tree being built. But I wanted to draw your attention to the eco mode. I'm going to shift into it right now. As I move the shift lever back, the light for eco lights up, and what happens is I get much more regenerative braking. I'm going down a hill right now, and I get over 10 kilowatts of regen right now, and I'm not touching the brake. So eco, you get less power, and as I'm going down this hill, you're getting more regenerative braking. Now I'm applying the accelerator, and I'm not getting as much power as I push down the accelerator. But it's going up to 78 miles of range. And in a moment, I'm going to shift back to drive to show you the difference. It says 78 miles of range if I keep it in eco. But if I go back to drive, which means moving the shift lever to the left and back, now it says 71 miles. Because now it's assuming that you're going to be using power in the drive mode, which means more power and less regen braking. But when you apply the brake very softly, you get plenty of regen in drive. Just to let you know. Now as I'm going up this little bit of hill, I let off on the accelerator, and even in drive I'm going to get a decent amount of regenerative braking. Going around this corner. These are all back roads. I'm going about 35 to 40. As you can see here, I'm moving my way up to 40 miles an hour. I'm now in Wallingford, Connecticut. On my way to Branford, Connecticut, which is where I was. And my navigation is still with me, although I know the way. But I'm going down to Branford, which is where I was raised. Okay, so I just thought this was my first video about the Nissan Leaf. I have the 2012 Leaf, which I was put on the reserve list way back in May of 2010. It took until January of 2012 for me to get the car. That's 20 months of waiting for this car. Well worth the wait, anybody thinking about getting one. The price is a little steep, somewhere north of $35,000. I think I paid $37,000 for mine with all the extras. And Connecticut doesn't give you any rebate on the sales tax, so I had to pay over $2,000 in sales tax on top of that. They used to do it. The Prius used to get Connecticut sales tax rebates. I think it ended in 2008, so I missed it by a few years. But I saved my money, and this is the car that I wanted. I've wanted one for many, many years, actually, but there weren't any available. And I believe I'm still the only one in Connecticut to have one, which makes me very proud. But I'm hoping I can be joined by others, and I'm hoping if anyone else in Connecticut has a Nissan Leaf. Mine is silver, kind of hard to see. Maybe I'll let you see from the outside when I get done. Okay, I'm just about ready to end this recording. But if anyone does have a Leaf in the state of Connecticut, let me know. I'm sure there are plenty around the country, but Connecticut only has... Yeah, I know where I'm going. I think Connecticut only has maybe half a dozen to a dozen at dealerships around the state, but I don't believe anybody actually has one. So what's my energy economy? I gotta turn the wheel. So 66. See, it's gone down quite a bit now. Now it says I'm getting about 95 miles. But I've been going up and down several hills, and that tends to wreck your range. If you were on a totally flat surface going about 40, you'd get the 100-mile range. Here's my turn. But I'm getting 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I think if you were to look around, you'd find that that's a pretty good number. The most I've ever gotten was 5.2. But at 5 miles per kilowatt hour, since the battery is 24 kilowatt hours, you get about 120 mile range. Now, the reason you don't get 120 mile range, it's more like 100, is partly because the 24 kilowatt hour rating for the battery is dependent on you drawing it at a particular rate, which I think is probably in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range. Probably, you know, around 10 kilowatts at the most. If you draw it at 20 kilowatts or 30 kilowatts, you're pulling more current out of the battery than the recommended, and so you get slightly less kilowatt hours. I'm having trouble keeping it on the screen here because I'm looking at the road and I'm also looking at my camera. But I think I'm done. Hope you've enjoyed my first foray into filming with the Nissan Leaf, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. But I am getting more range today than I did, say, last weekend when I went down to Brantford, where the temperature was more like 40. Because I still have 6 bars on the battery temperature gauge, and 6 bars is better than 4. This battery has a heater. The 2011 model did not have a heater, but this one does, and it keeps it no lower than 4 bars, which I wasn't getting quite the range. You see I'm going 45 miles an hour, and my power consumption is about 6 kilowatts. If you divide your miles per hour by your kilowatts, you'll get your miles per kilowatt hour. That's an easy rule of thumb. If that says 40, let me get it down to 40 miles an hour. Well, actually, I'm in regen mode because I'm going down a hill. But if this said, say, 10 kilowatts, and it was 40 miles per hour, 40 divided by 10 is 4 miles per kilowatt hour. I teach physics, so that didn't take me too long to figure that out, but I'm sure most people haven't figured that out. So you can figure out how this gets its number. But that bar in the middle goes from 0 to 8 miles per kilowatt hour, and the number above it, let me zoom in, you can see it. Let me push on the accelerator. See that white bar go down to the left? That's more like 2 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. It gives you an instantaneous reading of your miles per kilowatt hour. I really like that because I'm kind of a techno geek. So let me zoom in on that a little more. Let me push on the accelerator, see it go down. So that's about 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Now if I let up on the accelerator, it will go all the way to the right, indicating at least 8, probably more than 8. But I'm assuming that average of 4.9 keeps track of exactly your miles and how many kilowatt hours you've used. I'm sure it's keeping track of it. So I think that's long enough. I will tune out and tune you in again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.